How long has it been? It's been like 40 days or something. We were down in Turkey, did a load of stuff about cameras. Nobody cares about those, I know that. But it's nice to kind of get it out of your system. Today, believe it or not, is my first Saturday off since January the 4th. And here we are. Is it the 2nd of November today? Something like that. And the reason being is we had this project that was just crazy, crazy big, got totally out of hand, but it's complete now. You can look here and everywhere. I'm going to put some pictures up. And now all I'm thinking is that we've hit November, the winter's happening, and I want to go ride my motorcycle. But you see the Thunderbird here and the phaser there. This, I actually started it yesterday. It started like second try, and I haven't started it since I parked it here from when I picked it up. And the Thunderbird, I've had it on battery charge all night, so I'm gonna see if I can get that started now. And I will be going for a little ride around Bristol today. But before that, I got a massive hedge that I need to cut because it's grown so much and is completely and utterly out of hand. So that's my job today before I get out and have a little razz on the bike. So it kind of occurred to me that I could extend the Thunder Cave. So these trees, obviously chopping them all down, and we've got about 1.10 m or something at the back there, and I reckon if we extend kind of into the hedge there, into the brick wall I mean, then we can get a whole new section there. I think some garden tools need to go in there, definitely, but I could also, if we chop all of these down, then I could kind of extend this way a little bit. I feel a plan forming in my head. Babe, I can feel a project coming on. Really? I can feel a project coming on. A good one. It's going to be a really good one. It might even mean that I could extend the Thunder Cave, which might mean another motorcycle can fit in there.
On Harley, you might do it.
Are you giving me permission to get a Harley? All the way in there and all the way down the back. Then I extend the whole area here.
You do it.
Out this way. Don't put out the flame. Don't put out the flame. No, I know what you mean. It's not really necessary. No. But it might be needed. So if I get another motorcycle that makes me a better husband, then you benefit massively. Yeah. Right, see if we got any life in this old bird. This old Thunderbird. Strange, my neutral light has disappeared. That does not sound promising. Not sure about this. That's not bad. All right, try again. It's loud. Oh man, I have to say this feels good. I haven't been out on the bike for such a long time. I am going to take a trip down to Fowlers, which is my local motorcycle shop. You may even have heard of it. Better tighten that up. These new handlebars, I'm not sure if they're the right thing, but they feel pretty good. And quite amazingly, the bike started pretty easily this morning, given that I haven't used it for absolutely ages. And it probably needs a good service, but we've got the winter now, you know, so I can do a bit of that. Oh, this brings me joy, this bike. This brings me joy. So yeah, heading down to Fowlers. I want to look at a few motorcycles actually. And I also want to get a coffee at the cafeteria there. And now that we've got some more time on our hands, or I have more time on my hands, this madhouse project really took over. Yeah, it just meant that I didn't have any time whatsoever to do any riding, just get out and do stuff that I love doing, you know. But here I am. The house project is finished. I showed you the pictures earlier. It was an absolute beast. It was one of those times when you just gotta just prioritize getting a project finished so that you can get out and carry on with your life, you know. So I did not anticipate that it was going to be quite as involved as it was, but it was. It ended up being absolutely horrendous. But yeah, there you go. Anyway, enough of that. No excuses. No more excuses. The channel is back. I've got all kinds of ideas. Unfortunately, we're kind of hitting the winter, which is not the ideal time to be out riding all the time, but I am going to do some trips anyway, because I just want to, even if it means going somewhere else that's slightly warmer and hiring a bike or something like that. I don't know, but there's a few bikes I really want to try out, you know. I really want to try out these Royal Enfields. Everybody seems to be going on about these Enfields at the moment. You know, what's the deal with Royal Enfield? I don't know about you. Put it in the comments below. But when I've thought of Royal Enfields, I haven't really thought of kind of modern motorcycles. Like, not even slightly modern. I've just had in my mind that they're kind of from a bygone era. I don't know why. I'm probably completely wrong about that, but looking at the latest models that have come out and the stuff they've been doing the last few years, I'm like, wow, these look pretty nice. So there's the 650, is it the Meteor 650? I really want to try that one out. And it might be that I can hire one somewhere in slightly warmer climates. And another one that I really want to try out is here we go. Another one that I really want to try out is the BMW R9. Now you might think, you know, why do you want to try an R9 for? Well, I just kind of do. I love the look of them. I love the look of, it's kind of the retro but modern thing that they've managed to pull off. And I've heard that they are great bikes to ride. So yeah, definitely want to try one of those as well. So yeah, now who knows, we'll see. Also through the winter we've got this phaser project that I'm going to be working with my oldest son Joshua. He's an engineer and he has so many ideas about stuff that he wants to do with this bike, you know. He's been downloading all sorts of images and kind of project ideas for it, and I kind of like some of them. I'm much more I'm a practical, a bike has got to be a practical thing, so it's not just about looks, although looks are really important with a bike as well. I do like the retro look, I like the kind of scrambler look, the cafe racer type. Yeah, I like lots of different looks, but so we have a few ideas about how we're going to tackle this project, and that's going to be fun because it will give us plenty of stuff to do through the winter, which would be great to get cracking with, and lots to film. and I've always liked the phaser. There's something about the box eye phaser. I didn't really like the fox eye that much, the look of it, but the box eye, the older one, the 1998 till whenever it was, 2002 look, I can't remember. Love the look of them. This is my third phaser actually that I've had. Never had a blue one like this. Didn't even know there was blue ones. But I've always loved the look of the phaser. I've loved the ride of the phaser. What an awesome bike to ride. It really is a lovely bike to ride. I've never ridden a Honda Hornet, but I've heard that, you know, obviously there was the Bandit, the phaser and the Hornet. They were kind of neck and neck with each other, weren't they? Kind of late 80s kind of muscle-ish bikes. No, I'm not going to do that. I've heard that the Hornet is actually a better bike to ride, but I've never ridden one. Although I think I did my test on like a CBF or something like that, which is a similar bike many moons ago. But yeah, I've heard the Hornet's better, but hey, I've always liked the look of the phaser. It's got this unique tank on it, hasn't it? That kind of strange, like, no other bike has got that tank. It just looks so different. So anyway, there we go. That's some of the winter project stuff that I want to get cracking with, and just spend a bit more time with the channel. And some of it won't be purely motorcycle related. There will be other stuff that I'm going to do that is just about motorcycles. But I do love my bikes. You know, I really do. I love my bikes. Just this, you know, even though I'm just riding into town, basically, I flipping love this. This is just awesomeness. And I haven't been out on this for flipping ages. Like, I parked the phaser when I went to pick it up from Liverpool. I parked the phaser in the Thunder Cave, and I haven't touched it since. I started it yesterday, and it started on the button almost second time. So that's something, isn't it? It's you know, a bike sitting there for months, hasn't been used, and I thought, oh, maybe the battery's dead or something, but no, it was good. Look at that Ferris wheel there. Never been on that. So anyway, we're riding through the center of Bristol. This is my city. I love Bristol. It's a great place, friendly people, very inclusive. It's all good, mostly. This bike does have a couple of little oil leaks that are going on at the moment. I think it's just the gasket for the oil filter, I think, has started leaking a bit, and I've got some kind of oil pressure gauge thing that is also having a little bit of a leak for some reason. I don't know. Easy there, cyclist. Flip, mate. Whoa. No need to indicate or anything. But yeah, it occurred to me with all the filming and stuff that I've done all over the place and bits and bobs, I've never really done a proper film around Bristol, so I'm gonna take you around Bristol. I won't be doing it all today, but I will be doing a bit of riding around Bristol so you can take a look, because maybe you've never been, and it's definitely worth visiting. Most definitely. But, you know, it's that time of the year where, as a motorcyclist, you're kind of thinking, oh no, you know, I've got the winter coming. I'm not going to be doing much riding, and that's a bit depressing, isn't it? Because just getting out on your bike is like a therapy session. It's a lovely thing to do. See, actually, it's quicker to ride a push bike around town than it is to do anything else, I think. Coming up on your right, and it's starting to rain ever so slightly, which is lovely. But yeah, long rides in the winter probably ain't gonna happen unless we get like an Indian summer. We've had that a few times in November, haven't we, over the past few years, where suddenly we have this week where it's like 18-20 degrees and you're like, what is going on? I'm kind of praying for a bit of an Indian summer this winter, so that I can get out and do some stuff, and it'll be lovely. And the chances are that I will be extending the Thunder Cave ever so slightly as well, I think. And I think I may have managed to convince Lillian that I might have room for a third motorcycle. I'm not sure though, maybe not. Do I need 3? No, probably not. A project bike, the Thunderbird, and I've still got that Harley itch. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. I spoke to a friend the other day and he's got it bad, so he's going to get himself a Harley pretty soon. Although Harley, they've hit some hard times, haven't they? Not doing so well these days. Let's not get into that though. This Thunderbird, it just has so much character. It's just got that kind of like lovely feel to it. No, that's probably not legal, but I'm doing it anyway. It's just got that lovely feel to it. It's not a sports bike. It's not a typical kind of tourer. It's just a cruiser, isn't it? It's a lovely cruiser. But the engine, it's got a great engine and a lovely sound to it, and it just makes me smile. Makes me smile. And having done some serious miles, this one's 41,357 miles we're just rolling over into now. I don't need to indicate there, bro. It's all good. I saw you. You weren't paying attention. You didn't know I was there. And my neutral light has disappeared. It's just not there anymore. But that's okay. Mad to think that this time last year I'd taken a flight down to Turkey to ride this bike back, because I left it down there, didn't I? But riding it back in November, what was I thinking? Really? But it just goes to show that you can, if you want to. And I only got caught in the rain really in Greece, which was the second day, and that was kind of freak storms. And then at the very end of the ride, in going from Paris to the UK, I got caught in some rain there. But other than that, the weather was pretty great, to be honest, and it was a decent riding temperature. Apart from through the Alps, that was cold. Let me tell you, that was chilly. But I survived to tell the tale. But yeah, you've got to see basically the center of town that I've ridden through now. I mean, maybe, okay, I'd like to take you to some nicer parts, you know, up to Clifton, those places like that, over the suspension bridge, because that's pretty nice. But we'll do that another day. There was a quicker way to get here, a lot quicker from my house, but I wanted to ride through town today. Okay, we're just coming up on Fowlers here. Lots of lovely bikes. Oh, I'm looking forward to having a look at some bikes. Maybe I'll get tempted. Who knows? Probably. Ah, look at all those. Yeah. Here we are. The Mecca of motorcycles. Oh, this is good. This makes me feel good. I'll have some of this. I think we'll go in here. And of course, 400 or 500 GS 1200s. Nah, they're everywhere, aren't they? They are everywhere. People love those things. I mean, I wouldn't say no to one, but look, you get a short guy like me on one of those, I'm on my tiptoes the whole time. Here we go. Into Fowlers we go. Here it is. Everything going on here. We have got like a million helmets. I do fancy a new helmet at some point actually, but I don't really need one. I've got like 4. What I really kind of want to have a look at today is some of these Royal Enfields and see if I can book in a test ride, because I really want to try one out, because they're pretty awesome. So I'm going to head upstairs here, take a look. Man, there's so much kit here. Everything seems to be on sale. Let's go and have a look at a Royal Enfield or two, see what they look like. All these Triumphs everywhere. Oh, there's a lot of Triumphs. Oh my. They've got a Speed Twin 900. I must say they look quite small actually. And that's not a bad price. 8,994. X display with accessories. It does look nice though, doesn't it? Looks really nice. Very nice indeed. Now these rockets, what is that, a 2.5 litre engine? It is. That is one ridiculous machine, isn't it? You're gonna get from A to B pretty quick on that. But that's really not a bad price for a street scrambler 900. 7,894 miles, 6,494. That's really not bad, and that looks lovely as well. That looks gorgeous. I like the look of that, but see the size difference between that and the Scrambler 1200 next to it. That is a huge difference in size. See, the only thing with the Scramblers that I'm unsure about, this is a 2018 model, the only thing I'm unsure about the Scramblers, if you're going to do any touring and stuff, I've heard that the exhaust pipe gets so warm. But this is a tool bike, this one here, the 1200. I'm never going to touch the floor on that. But I think of all the Triumphs, in terms of like the styling, the Speed Twin 1200 has got to be my favorite. The size of it and everything, it just seems like the ideal bike in every way. What's this one? That one's a 2019 version. What price are we looking at here? 6,994. That's a lovely looking bike, isn't it? That's a lovely looking bike. Oh my. I was here to look at some Royal Enfields and I've ended up with the Triumphs. I clearly love my Triumphs. Twin Brembos at the front. That's going to stop me nice and quick. Right, so I've got my coffee. I've got my flapjack. That's all I really need. And I'm here in Fowlers because I really want to check out these Royal Enfields. But I went and stopped and just looked at all the Triumphs instead. And I gotta say, that Speed Twin, I absolutely love the look of that bike. And I do like the Scramblers as well, but if you're gonna go touring and stuff, then I'm pretty sure, although I see a lot of people doing it, I'm pretty sure the exhaust pipe is gonna be something that annoys me, even though that's the thing that makes it look really, really cool. Because, like last year when I did my ride down through Europe, when it started to get hot, the heat coming from the bike was at times almost unbearable, especially when I was in Albania. And I didn't actually overnight, I didn't wild camp in Turkey at all, because the only way to stay cool was to kind of ride. So I just rode hard all the way down through Turkey, from the north to the south of Turkey in a day, from Çanakkale all the way down to Didim in one day. And every time I stopped, it was just this unbearable heat that I felt. But if you add to that an exhaust pipe that's right on the inside of your thigh, just absolutely beasting you with heat, that's not going to be good. Might be lovely in the winter though. If I had that on the way back through the Alps, that would have been perfect, because I was freezing. That's an interesting thought, actually. Might be the perfect bike for winter rides. Maybe I should have a Scrambler for the winter Something else for the summer. The Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is actually a difficult bike to beat because it's got everything. It's got plenty of power. It's got those retro looks. It's a Triumph. Easy to fix. And it's cheap. If you got £3 grand, you can buy yourself an awesome Thunderbird. The Royal Enfield I want to try out is the Interceptor 650. It's a really, really retro looking bike. And my thing is it too retro? Is it kind of a harking back to a bygone era that really is kind of gone? Or is there something to it that I'm really going to like? I've heard some good things about it. I've heard it's a lovely ride. But it's 47 brake horsepower. That isn't a powerful bike. Is that enough? Does it feel like you got enough going on there? Or is it going to feel a little bit like meh? So I kind of want to take a look at it. I'd like to give it a go, like to give it a try. I have seen that it's possible to rent one of these bikes in Portugal for really quite cheap money. So I'm a little bit tempted because I have got a week coming up at the end of November, beginning of December, where I can actually get away and do something just for myself. Getting away on a bike would be awesome. Getting away to somewhere that's a little bit warmer would be nice. So maybe, and knowing that I can rent one of those would be really cool, because it would be nice to do a review of the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650 in warmer climates. That would be very cool. So I'm going to drink my coffee. I'm going to go find one of these and have a chat with someone about them. Oh man, there's still something about these Harleys that brings me a lot of joy to look at. I mean, look at that thing. It's got to happen, hasn't it, at some point? This one sold. I'm not surprised. That looks absolutely gorgeous, doesn't it? 1200 Roadster. That's just a simple iron, but I mean, they just look great. What a great design. Why did Harley stop doing the sports style? I have no idea. What is that all about? This is what we come to look at.
That's all for me, mate. I imagine that actually.
So here we have the Interceptor 650.
Book on it is 7.1, I think it's 5.5.
Now that really isn't a bad price, is it? That's a 2022 model for £4,794. I mean, I'm not sure you get a cheaper bike than that. That's a nice looking bike. Actually looks a lot nicer in reality than it does on all the pictures. This just looks like a nice bike, actually. But mate, in terms of it's got 47 horsepower, isn't it? Is that enough for?
Yeah, it's adequate for the style of the bike.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to ever go and break any land speed.
Let's have a sit on it first and foremost. Am I tall enough? Yeah, that's totally fine. Quite an upright stance on this bike, which feels quite similar to the Thunderbird, to be fair. Feels lovely. Nice riding position. I think definitely got to try one of these out. Definitely got to try one of these out. This one is the shotgun. I'm assuming it's exactly the same engine. Now that is a totally different feel altogether, but I actually kind of prefer that. It's a little bit more squat. My arms are a little bit more bent. That kind of feels right. It feels a lot nicer actually for my style of riding. They're a little bit less retro, so everything's a little bit chunkier grips. Clutch control, brake control, they're a little bit more tactile. I like that. This is a nice feel to this one actually. But everything being slightly offset on the dash here is a bit weird. I can't quite work out if your handlebars are straight or not. But they are. But offset dials does feel a little bit weird. And these are the bikes that are totally killing it these days since Harley had made a bit of a mess. Everyone's going and buying their Indians now. The side is just like all massive, isn't it? All this metal. That huge bit of metal there is just for the number plate. What? But I think it would be fun to ride one of these. It looks very kind of, there's something quite pedestrian about it though, isn't there? Something very conservative. Like this line here, just coming straight back there. There's no kind of, it's just like a flat bike almost. Nice though, I like it. Just not sure if I could ever see myself with an Enfield. I don't know. An Indian, maybe. It's not really till you get up close to these scramblers that you realize how big they are actually. These are big bikes. It's tall, like for me, that is probably too tall, but that's the XC, that for the first two, and then goes on to XE. I think there is a slight size difference between them height-wise, but I'm not entirely sure, but they just have this unbelievably good look, don't they? Absolutely love them. Very cool looking bikes. But every time I'm looking at Triumphs, I keep coming back to these Speed Twins. I think that might be my ideal bike, and I think it's that color design there, or that color combination that I like the most. What a lovely looking bike. Right, I've had a little look around Fowlers, you've had a little look as well. Not too much, because filming in a place like that, I think the guys that work there, they've probably been filmed a million times, so they don't like being filmed too much, which I totally understand. I had a look at the Enfields. There is something kind of like really plain about them that I don't, it's not quite my thing in some ways. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. You might have this similar thoughts. There's something about the slightly lack of character. It seems odd, like, to think like that, because they're a kind of a bike that's full of character, really. I think I've been spoilt with the Thunderbird, if I'm honest, because the Thunderbird is such it's a bike with loads of character. It's kind of an all-round bike that you don't find that often, I don't think. Maybe I'm just biased because I got a Thunderbird, but there's something about the Thunderbird that is just special. And when I get back out and I look at my Thunderbird compared to even some of the modern bikes out there that are really, really nice, I don't see a massive difference. I don't see any reason to kind of like run out and buy something else to replace it. And so I'm not going to. The closest bike so far that I've come to that is got to be the Speed Twin. In terms of the looks of it and the way I think, that just makes me want to ride that bike. The Speed Twin is an absolutely beautiful bike. I just think they've nailed it with the design. Everything about it seems to work for me. So anyway, I'm losing the light here a little bit. I'm going to get out and do a bit of riding around Bristol and back home. And then we'll see what we do, because I gotta say, I am up for a little ride in the winter. I'm gonna do some riding in the winter regardless. Obviously I don't want to go out in the pouring rain, but I want to do some rides. I want to do some different stuff through the winter to see what you can do in the winter months, because I can't wait until like March until I start riding again. That's just not happening. Not happening, not at all. And also, if I can get abroad and hire a bike, that would be really, really cool. So anyway, let's hit Bristol a little bit, see what you think. I'll take you around for a ride. I'm going to do you a proper visit and a tour of Bristol soon. A proper tour of Bristol so that you can see how great this little city is. You probably love it. Right, we're off. Off we go. I got this guy next to me on a speed triple. Now that is another bike that I've always thought that Triumph just knocks it out of the park with the design of the speed triple. It's kind of this naked, aggressive looking bike, isn't it? It just looks absolutely nasty. And probably I've never ridden one. You know, there's a lot of Triumphs actually that I think have just nailed it in terms of design and spec and everything. It just seems to be like, yep, you got it. I feel a little bit like that with Audi cars as well, you know. They seem to just make cars that look amazing, and Triumph seem to make bikes that just look awesome, and everything else doesn't quite do it. Yeah, I think I'm a Triumph guy, you know. To be honest, I've thought maybe I should try some different make of bikes, but as soon as I got on a Triumph, as soon as I tried one, I was like, this is awesome. And the fact that I'm riding around on a Triumph that is what is this now? This is 1995, you know. Flip, next year's going to be 30 years old, this bike. 30 years old, and it's just riding so well. It's just beautiful. I love this bike. So it just is a testament to the kind of the timeless design quality and build quality of the Triumph motorcycles. So a lot to be said for this bike, a lot to be said for Triumph, and that they're still knocking it out of the park with absolutely fantastic bikes that people love. It is a lot to be said for it, you know. So although I want to try some other bikes out, I want to give the Enfield a try, because it's one of those bikes that is kind of in vogue a little bit. People love their Enfields, and I've been to see, you know, there's a woman, Jackie Fano, she bought this Enfield when she was on holiday or doing some like trip in India years ago, and then she spent 7 years riding it around, and she loves her Enfields, and they're obviously fantastic bikes. So I feel like I gotta give one a go and see what all the rage is about. But I think what's probably going to happen is that I'm going to try out other bikes and just be like, well, they're not as good as the Thunderbird. Who knows? I might just stick with a Thunderbird for the rest of my life, you know. Can you do that? Yeah, of course you can. So here's the guy with his driving around in an open top. What's that all about? It's actually raining a little bit. I think he's there with his t-shirt on. This is the famous Park Street with the Wills Memorial Building at the top. So, been out for a little spin, popped down to Fowlers, and I have to say that whenever I look at newer bikes, I'm reminded of how good the Thunderbird is. I don't know how you feel about kind of newer bikes, but there's something about like the lack of soul in some newer bikes. They've all got a similar kind of design principle of trying to look a bit modern at the same time as being a little bit retro. I think Triumph have pulled it off. Obviously the Speed Twin is probably my favorite modern bike. And if I was to kind of splash out, you know, up towards 10 grand on a bike, it would be that without question. But I'm not got any desire to splash out that kind of money. And every time I ride the Thunderbird, I'm reminded of what a brilliant all-rounder it is. It seems to just do everything well. It's comfortable, really comfortable. The seating position for me is just perfect. Maybe because I'm not the tallest guy in the world, maybe because of that. Maybe that's the reason. I've heard other people say it feels a little bit too cramped, but for me it's just perfect. I'm able to kind of sit comfortably. My knees aren't too high. I've got a good stance on it, which I really like. So I'm just reminded of what a brilliant bike it is and how it ticks all of the boxes. And it's really hard, kind of when you've had a bike that you just fall in love with, it's really hard to find something else to kind of replace that. So I think the Thunderbird is going to always be with me, partially because of the sentimental value of having done my first major tour on this very Thunderbird. I can't see myself getting rid of it anytime soon, but also because it really is an awesome bike. Loads of power, loads of comfort, sounds great, looks great, really just an all-rounder that I can't seem to be able to find anything else to match, or yeah, definitely not beat it, not even match it. So there is something about it that just has me. I love it. So am I going to buy another bike? Probably. But mind you, the kind of bike that really gets me is the kind of bike that's been around for ages, like the Harley-Davidson Sportster, for example. I think that came out in 1953, and they've been making it right up until they decided to not make it anymore, even though it was their bestseller and still was their bestseller at the point of stopping making, I think. It just seems absurd that they did that. But anyway, the Sportster is one of those bikes that falls into that category of this is kind of a once in a generation kind of bike, you know. It is one of those timeless bikes. Everybody knows the Sportster. Everybody in the motorcycle community knows the Sportster, knows how good it is. A lot of people kind of hate on it because they think it's kind of a bit like a tractor with two wheels. And it might be, but that's probably the thing that gives it all the character, and that people can customize it and do what they want with it and do all kinds of stuff that makes it their own. That is the kind of bike that stays forever in kind of the motorcycle community. You don't hear of many other motorcycles that have that kind of history, that kind of following, that kind of community. There's something about a Harley-Davidson Sportster that has that. You've also got that with the Triumph Bonneville, that it's just always been there. It's been a staple part of the motorcycle community from forever. And that brings about a certain kind of following and a certain love for these bikes that just stays and never goes. And thankfully Triumph haven't done what Harley-Davidson done with the Sportster and stopped making the Bonneville. It would be nonsense, wouldn't it? It'd be absolutely crazy. But I have to say, the Thunderbird is one of those kind of bikes that you don't see loads of. They bought the Thunderbird, the Legend. I can't remember the name of the other ones now. They were basically kind of the same bike. But I'm just surprised, and this is something for Triumph maybe to reply to, because I'm surprised that they haven't taken the Thunderbird and created a more, you know, up-to-date version like they've done with the Bonneville, for example. Why hasn't that been done with the triple engine? I mean, obviously they brought out the Speed Triple, and now you can get the Trident, which is also a triple, I believe. But the Thunderbird, bring out the Thunderbird again. Do something with it so you can kind of, a lot of people look at the Thunderbird like a beefed up Bonneville. And it really is, you know, it's heavier. It's got obviously the third cylinder there. It's a chunkier bike, but it was really loved, and everybody that has a Thunderbird loves their Thunderbirds, and they hold their price pretty good. I mean, this is a 1995. I got it for 3,200 quid. That's not cheap for that age of bike. You know, there's other bikes you can get, a Yami or a Yamaha or a Honda or Suzuki or something. If it was that age, you'd probably be paying like 400 quid or something. But these bikes, they hold their value, and it's a testament to the build quality and how good these bikes really are. But I would love to see an updated Thunderbird hit the market that has that kind of like, that keeps the soul of the bike, like they did with the Bonneville. You can still go and buy a brand new Bonneville and it looks and feels, it probably feels better maybe, but it certainly looks like the older Bonneville. So interesting. I'd love to hear why Triumph dropped the Thunderbird. Probably because it didn't make as much money as the other models, but there was something about it, and there is still something about this bike, and I can see myself kind of maybe getting another Thunderbird at some point, maybe a Sport or something. I'd love to have one with the twin, the two discs on the front and that kind of thing. But anyways, right, you've had a little look around Bristol. We went to Fowlers, had a quick look around there, looked at the Royal Enfields. I don't know. They kind of are and they kind of aren't for me. They don't really do it for me. I don't know why. I've always had that feeling about Enfield. I still got that feeling about Enfield. I haven't ridden one yet, so I can't really say that. But from sitting on it, looking at it, it's nice. The stance was nice. I preferred the Shotgun. Is it the Shotgun 650 rather than the Interceptor 650? The Interceptor 650, it seemed a bit kind of pedestrian. But not quite got anything to offer type feeling of a bike. Anyway, don't want to get into that too much. There's probably people watching this that absolutely love their Royal Enfield Interceptors and wouldn't sell it or get rid of it or want to hear any criticism about it from anybody. I understand that. I'm not criticizing like negative. It just kind of feels like it might not be the bike for me. But I want to try one anyway. Right, over and out. I'll be back really soon. More content, all that stuff. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. This bike right here, this one's going to be getting a complete overhaul. Me and my son are going to be doing that in the winter. We don't really know what we're going to be doing, but we'll find out. We'll make it up as we go along, kind of thing. He wants to really plan it. I just want to chop it and wing it. But he's probably right. We need to do it properly. Right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time. Stay shiny side up and keep riding even though it's getting colder. You'll be fine. Just get some heated gloves or something. See you later.